Axe is gonna give it to you. Not tonight. And
it is over.
welcome everybody to this week's episode of The Insiders, and we are it has been a busy day. We are coming off of Fyter Fest from AEW, and obviously we're coming off the Great American Bash Night 1 from NXT, so lots and lots of stuff to talk about tonight. Hello, Eric. Welcome. Welcome to those of you that are getting in. I know it's a little bit different tonight. People might be a little bit late coming in because obviously we had these shows just finishing up. And there's Jennifer. Hello to you. And of course we have Rusty in here as well. Rusty's waiting to. Hey, there's going to be a little bit of double teaming, I think, going on in the debate segment. But you know what, guys? It doesn't matter. Joe's done his homework. I've got some notes, and I don't usually use notes. I've got notes ready to go for that debate segment tonight. So I'm good. I'm ready to go, and this is gonna be a fun show tonight because again we've got Gary Cassidy is with us. We've got some stuff from Gary to start the show. As always, after that we're gonna kind of recap a little bit, and we're gonna talk about the two shows that we got tonight in a little quick recap in the segment after Gary, and then we will go into the debate segment. And everybody I know is anxious to get that comic book debate about Deadpool, so that's coming up. And then, of course, as always, we will go into some Q&A from you guys to end our show tonight. So let's get right into it, shall we? Welcome in Mr. Gary Cassidy. Gary, again, as always, thank you so much for being with us and taking some time out of your busy week to join us tonight.
No problem at all. As always, it's a pleasure, and I don't think I'll stop saying that anytime soon.
Oh, man. We interrupted Gary's tea. Gary's making himself some tea, and we interrupted his tea.
I need to live the UK gimmick, even though it's more common in England, but I need to live the UK gimmick and let everyone know that I'm drinking tea.
There you go. There you go. See, sometimes stereotypes work out, right? Oh, so let's get started, shall we? We've got some things to ask you about. I know you had reported on some of these things on your site and on your Twitter, so let's get right into this, and want to talk to you a little bit about Gallows and Anderson, because this became a big story the last few days, and obviously Gallows and Anderson heading to Impact. So what I know you had broken the story, you put the story out the last few days. So what is the latest on Gallows and Anderson? Is this a done deal now? Are they definitely heading to Impact? And where do you see them going? And I was talking to Jeff a little bit about this before. Do you see them getting in with the Aces and Eights thing that they've been teasing a little bit? Is that where you see it headed?
Yeah, so as always, they've been absolutely fantastic on social media in terms of, trolling everyone a little bit. What we always talk about on this show, it seems like, people just trolling the fans. And Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows have been no different. They've been putting up, Gallows even put up a photo yesterday of an Aces and Eights t-shirt, said he was in Jacksonville and had a Bullet Club koozie on his beer. So obviously they're still playing it out a little bit, but just completely, sometimes these things happen completely by accident, completely by chance. I got a little message, just an anonymous tip the other day into my Twitter DMs. And, sometimes it takes a while sometimes to see those DMs because the notifications don't flash up instantly. This one flashed up, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it was saying that it's pretty much a done deal, Gallows and Anderson to Impact. So I was like, oh, right, that's quite interesting. That was, I expected AEW or New Japan, but Impact makes sense. I'd, of course, seen the day before that Ryan Satin of Pro Wrestling Sheet had said that Impact has offered a lucrative deal, which was the word, a lucrative deal which would allow them to also work New Japan if they signed with Impact. So I got in touch with a few people after that, and I couldn't verify it anything past being pretty much a done deal, which, pretty much in wrestling, while it does count for a lot can happen as well. The most notable thing would be if you think of Deonna Purrazzo at All In. She was meant to appear, she was advertised right up until like a day or two before it, and then pulled because she signed with WWE. So obviously it's a bit of a tricky situation with Gallows and Anderson because they're currently on their, or they're almost finished it, but they're currently in the midst of their 90-day non-compete clause with WWE. That makes it a bit tricky because it is definitely, I got it confirmed afterwards, it's definitely a done deal. A lot of people confirming that. A couple beforehand, and then I reported on it, and thankfully a lot of people afterwards. Dave Meltzer, he even credited me, thankfully, which was really nice, and said that first reported by Ryan Satin that the contract had been offered, then confirmed by myself, Gary Cassidy, that they'd accepted the offer essentially, and that he had further went and confirmed it as well. So that's about as good as you can get before they actually appear on Impact Wrestling. But yeah, it looks like it's a done deal. The two caveats that I know from it is that, well, three actually. The first is that obviously they can't appear until Slammiversary. That is the soonest date they can appear after their 90-day non-compete ends. The second one is that, yes, they can work New Japan, which I think is, what a lot of people want to see them in. I think that's probably was something that might have been a sticking point for them if that wasn't part of the deal. I know that they can't travel to Japan right now, but it's something that obviously, if it's a long-term contract, that would make a lot of sense. And the third one, which was something that flew under the radar, because this actually, I've since found out, mentioned in a podcast over a month ago, but it also means they can run their own little promotion, which they do, the Talking Shop podcast, but they are turning that into a wrestling promotion of sorts as well. So yeah, they're signed with Impact, but it looks like it's going to be only a semi-exclusive deal. It looks like they will be working with Impact, but they'll be allowed to go to Japan and also be allowed to do their own promotion thing. But I don't know if they'll appear on that promotion. Either way, brilliant. I think Impact has got an incredible tag team division. I think the women's division is great, but their tag team division is brilliant as well. And, if they were to pick up anyone else that WWE have dropped to go into their singles division, now that that's looking a little bit light, then we might have a pretty tasty roster on more hands when it comes to Impact Wrestling. So I'm really excited to see what they do. I can't wait, particularly because obviously when they show up, that'll be that moment of they're finally there. My story can be, completely closed off, chucked to the side. Don't need to worry about it anymore. And then after that, I'll be like, I'm just looking forward to seeing them working with tag teams like the North and the Rascals. So it'll be good all round.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'll tell you, I've been watching Impact a little bit more than usual. I've been meaning to watch it for a while, and I've been starting to watch it now. So I've watched the last 2 or 3 episodes, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. I love their women's division. I really do. I think that they've got a bright future now. Obviously, with Gallows and Anderson showing up there, and if they're bringing that aces and eights back as we've seen teased, man, they can really be a player. And with the people that they have, and again, like I said, with their strong women's division, I'm expecting good things out of that company.
Yeah, it's something that it's like for the past maybe I don't even know how many years, maybe even as long as about 10 years, Impact I think have really struggled with their reputation. I don't think that's any shock to anyone if I say that. But over the past about 2 years, I feel like it's unjust because I feel like they have been a really entertaining promotion to watch. They actually, I know a lot of people know the rumours from years ago of not paying talents and stuff like that, and that is unforgivable. But when you count the fact that they have completely changed ownership, management in that time, almost all the personnel has changed. There's almost no one there that was there back then. From what I've heard now, they treat their talents really well. Every Impact Wrestling star that I've interviewed has been, really excited about what they're doing. They've always spoke about how high the morale is in the locker room. It seems like they are people that are out to prove a point. And with signings like Gallows and Anderson, I said it on social media, we are the only other free agent at this time that I believe is as much of a needle shifter and as much of a talent that would get people who aren't normal viewers to watch a show. I think the only other person that is higher than Gallows and Anderson on that list would be Rusev. And, it's not out of the question for him to sign. Obviously, he might not. But I think that's how highly I would put Gallows and Anderson there as a team that people will want to see.
Yeah, I would agree. And I mean, obviously, too, they're teasing possible EC3 as well. I mean, so they've got the makings of what could be really, really exciting here. And the news with Gallows and Anderson just makes it that much more so. You guys are going to be hearing a lot more of Impact on our show. I can tell you that. Just by the fact that, again, it's not something that I have regularly watched. I have started watching now since obviously NWA is no longer on Tuesdays. Gives me something to watch on Tuesday. So you'll be hearing a lot more about them. I can tell you that. Jeff, I know, is excited about them as well. So we will be talking a lot more about Impact on our show. Let me say hello to some people before we get into our next topic here with Gary. So Eric Haberman, hello to you. Rusty is actually here in studio with us. So Rusty's in the chat as well. DJ B Tazzy, he just got off work. How's everybody? We're doing well, bud. He interviewed with us. If you did not hear that, we had that out at 6:00 today. So go and listen to that. If you did not listen to the interview with DJ B Tazzy, we had a good time doing that. John is here. Welcome to you. Dave's fan is here as well. We've got Monica King. Welcome to you. Let's go down the list here. We got MJP Storm. Welcome to you. He said he just subscribed. Thank you so much, man. We really appreciate that. Dave in real life. Welcome to you, buddy. Let's see. Sunny Wolf is here. Sunny Wolf, welcome to you as always. And let's see, Austin 316, welcome to you, man. C Wrestling, hello, sir. Welcome to you. Gust is cool is here with us as well. Welcome to everyone who has just joined our chat. And we are just here with Gary talking about the main topics from wrestling over this past week. So topic number 2 I'd like to get into is NXT UK. Obviously, this is an ongoing thing. I didn't want to start out with some depressing news because that's all we kind of had last week. So I figured we'd talk about Gallows and Anderson first. Unfortunately, we still got this as kind of breaking news with NXT UK. We know how badly this promotion was hit by a lot of the news over the past few weeks. What can you tell us about NXT UK? And again, I know if you guys don't follow Gary on Twitter, please do. He's had a lot of breaking news on his Twitter site this past week, and Gallows and Anderson and NXT UK were two of the biggest things that he's had over the last few days. So what's the latest on NXT UK, Gary, that you're hearing?
Firstly, I really appreciate you lifting me up and then bringing me crashing back down to earth for bad news second.
I'm here to please, Gary. I'm here to please.
Yeah. No, I actually think I'm looking at the stuff that's come out a bit more positively now. I feel like it was important that a lot of the negative stuff happened in order to get a positive outlook going forward for NXT UK. So for me, I've said it many times. The NXT UK, I know that maybe in the US it's not as prominently pushed. People don't really know much about it. But over here, it's always been that underground thing where it's like it's probably the most consistently, good wrestling show and has been for the past 2 years. But just because it's not live and because it's a UK-based promotion, it doesn't really get much love, even though it's under the WWE umbrella. Of course, over the past couple of weeks, it was hit really, really hard with the Speaking Out movement, which I believe we discussed last week. Seems like it was 3 years ago now, but I think it was only last week. But so a lot of the talents were accused of many things regarding abuse, harassment, sexual exploitation of trainees. Really harrowing stuff, and again, really unforgivable stuff. A lot of names being let go by the promotion. Ligero was one, Travis Banks was another. 2 referees have now been let go, and the 2 referees were let go. That was confirmed late last night, just after an internal media call, which also saw Joe Coffey be suspended. No real info on that one. I know that there was a lot of accusations against him that were mainly regarding messages he'd sent to people. It wasn't anything physical, while obviously it was still pretty horrible when you see the messages. Wasn't as severe as a lot of the other cases, you would say. So he's been suspended, I believe, pending further investigation. But there were a lot of reports ahead of this call, because the news leaked out that there was going to be a call. There were a lot of reports of various different things, ranging from the promotion is going to fold completely and close down, all the way to they're going to announce 2 more NXT UK takeovers and return to tapings. Of course, what we get, as is always the way when rumours come out, was somewhere in the middle of that. It's not closed down. It doesn't look like closing down anytime soon at all. Just because I knew what time the call was at, it started to become more apparent of what was happening. Around about the time the call was on, the messages started to flood out on Twitter from NXT UK talents, saying how they couldn't wait to get back in the ring and all this kind of stuff, which went in line with what I'd been told just beforehand. So again, a lot of stuff had changed, or had happened, after the last things I'd heard. But it seems like nothing has actually changed properly. And that news that I'd reported before was that a couple of weeks ago, as far as I knew, the tapings would be coming back as soon as they possibly could, which again, the situation here in the UK is slightly different. Wrestling can't happen at all, even without a crowd. Right now, that seems to be something that will change over the next few weeks. The thing I'd heard was 2 months, and that was from 2 weeks ago. So if you think now, maybe a month and a half, a month and maybe 3 weeks is when we'll probably see an announcement at the very latest. The NXT UK TakeOver Dublin, which is the next takeover, is still scheduled. Tickets still on sale for that, and that's on October 25th. And yeah, I think it's now just a waiting game. I done what I always do. I reached out to the person that is the International Media Communications Officer for WWE. That's my first go-to with any news that's official rather than any backstage news, because if I ask them about backstage news, they'll laugh in my face. But if it's something official, I'll always ask them for a statement first, because I would rather get it from the promotion. I asked them, and they kind of joked about me at first, and they're like, what kind of news would come from a rumoured media call? And I was like, well, sorry, I'll rephrase that. What was the call regarding anything that you can disclose, and is there any potential statement that will come from it? Is there anything I can report on? And they just said nothing to be shared. So so I think that shows they're playing their cards close to their chest. But I'm pretty certain, from what I've read, what I've heard, that the basis of the media call was to establish a code of conduct to essentially update everyone on what was happening. Everyone had been silent on social media until that, including the NXT UK account. I feel like they're just prepping people for how to deal with social media, because obviously a lot of backlash will come. But I also believe they have outlined a kind of tentative plan, is the best way to say. A plan for if the lockdown gets lifted the way it should in the UK, this is what's going to happen. So yeah, obviously slightly bad news, because there's been a lot of dark clouds over the NXT UK brand, but it looks like some sunshine's appearing. So let's do this as not bad news. Let's take this as half good news, so we can keep this week on an upbeat note.
Well, that's good. We'll take half. We'll take half. I mean, it just so many things that we heard when this all started was, in fact, there were people saying that NXT UK might be in big trouble, where to the point where they may have to shut it down. I mean, obviously you had reported that they were having the meetings there and everything like that. So people didn't really know what to expect. But yeah, I mean, look, any little bit of news we get is obviously good news. Yeah, I mean, we'll take it as opposed to the latter, where something could have happened where the whole thing could have been shut down, which obviously no one wants. So that's good. That's a positive thing, and I'll take it. I'll take it. Lastly, Gary, for you, we have I got to go back to SmackDown from last week. Because there's a lot of stuff floating around now about, obviously we talked about Undertaker and the last ride on our show last week. So a lot of stuff floating out there now about, because of the tribute show that they had, and because of obviously showing the Boneyard match again, and then all the wrestlers coming out there saying thank you, Taker, and then how the show ended, of course, with Corbin in there kind of playing the heel. I know you like some Baron Corbin. So Baron Corbin was out there kind of doing his job and taking the heat off of everybody, and so I mean, is there any chance because of this? And obviously they had a ratings jump. So a little unusual considering that a lot of it was repeat stuff, where the Boneyard match was a good 45 to 50 minutes long with the commercials and everything in there. So, not a full show by any stretch, and they had a ratings jump. So, I mean, any chance in your mind that we see something now with Taker? Is this a moment where Vince does the break glass thing just because of the fact that the ratings went up, or is it completely out of the picture and Taker's retired, or would it be something that they're not going to bring him back right away? They're going to save him for something bigger.
Only with the Undertaker could he retire for good, completely retired. The big news comes out, and 1 week later we're already speaking about his next match.
Yes, sir.
Only the Undertaker. So yeah, I think that if nothing else, SmackDown confirmed what we already know, and that the Undertaker is still a draw. I don't think anyone can doubt that. The documentary proved it. Every single time he's come back has proved it. We're always not another Undertaker match, but of course we watch it anyway, and everyone still loves the Undertaker. So I think that reinforced that 100%. I did find it a little bit odd that they let Baron Corbin do what he did. Take some pretty real shots at the Undertaker, because they don't really normally let anyone do that without getting their comeuppance. Obviously, he did get his comeuppance at the end of the show, but not by the Undertaker. I really hope they don't. I hope that glass stays firmly intact. Please don't break the glass. Let Undertaker go out the way that he did. And I know that, the Undertaker's earned his right to go out in whatever way he wishes. So if he does choose to come back, I won't complain. Definitely won't complain. The ratings were good. I really hope that little jump doesn't just result in Vince McMahon going, oh, let's bring back Undertaker, and then Undertaker going, oh yeah, I'll come back for a match. And then he has a bad match, and then that throws us back into the cycle again. So I really hope that doesn't happen. But the one thing I'll say, that the Baron Corbin thing, obviously he ended up laid out at the end. I had another little story that came out this week. Thankfully, the Gallows and Anderson one came out afterwards and overshadowed it, because a lot of people were saying, oh, that journalist has just been worked by his sources, was the term that kept coming out, which... For me, I'm like, I don't mind if they are working me and giving me something to say that is later going to result in a much better storyline. I don't have a problem with that, because while I'm reporting on real news, let's not forget, this is wrestling. We all like to be worked. That's the main part of wrestling. And that news was Baron Corbin. It looks like he's going to be working with Matt Riddle going forward. I don't think that's any surprise to anyone whatsoever. He eliminated Matt Riddle from Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble, and now Matt Riddle on SmackDown got the last laugh on Baron Corbin after everyone else put their finishers on him. But the news that I got, and I need to put it out there that this definitely did not come from Baron Corbin or anyone that is associated with Baron Corbin, because that's what everyone thinks. But the news was that Baron Corbin only found out he would be working with Matt Riddle last week, or now a week and a half ago. But he only found that out a week and a half ago, whereas Matt Riddle apparently has known that plan since it was put in place way back in March. So quite a long time ago, and that also leads you to believe, how far ago that he knew he was coming to the main roster. So apparently, the story was that Baron Corbin is not happy with the fact that not the fact that he's working with Matt Riddle, but the fact that he's working with Matt Riddle in the way that he is. So the story, the funny part of it, is that apparently Baron Corbin told Matt Riddle that Matt Riddle should have to face and defeat 5 enhancement talents before he faces Baron Corbin and gets the win over Baron Corbin, which I think is great anyway, even if that is, even if I'm being worked there and that's not an accurate story, I think it's brilliant anyway because it plays into the Baron Corbin character. But at the same time, it is pretty believable as well. If it is 100% legit, and the person that told me it, I have no reason to believe that it's not. They're the same person that broke the news to me that SmackDown tapings were cancelled 2 weeks ago when they were cancelled. That story played out, so I've no reason not to believe them. But they said, yeah, that's 100% what Matt Corbin said to Matt Riddle. Obviously backstage with no cameras or anything around. So I think it's great. I love it. And it is not unbelievable because you think maybe Baron Corbin is of the mentality that, well, this guy's been good on NXT, but it's NXT, so it has to come up here and prove himself. So I really liked it. And I couldn't care less if it is, if it's real or not. It's something I get told, and I hope, if nothing else, I hope that it ends up playing out in some way and progressing a storyline.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's interesting news. Look, Baron Corbin gets a horrible rap, and I know a lot of people just do not like the guy, but you know what? That's what heels are supposed to be, guys. They're supposed to be people that you just do not like. No matter what you don't like them for. I mean, I know, again, when I was watching wrestling years and years ago, there were guys that I just could not stand. And that's not to say that they were bad wrestlers. They were doing their job. And they were really getting people to hate their guts. Guys like the $1 Million Man, people like that. It just, you just could not stand these guys. And it's not a bad thing because, again, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Gary, before I let you go, we've got a group of people in here who are big Bray fans. We know that the whole community love Bray Wyatt. What do you think we're getting? Any kind of speculation you might have on what do you think we're getting for this swamp match that's coming up?
Yeah, sadly, this is something I've got absolutely no information on beyond me being able to speculate on it.
Yep.
The craziest thing I think is that it's a non-title match, but I think that may, I don't want to say give away the result, but I think that leads us to where it might be going. I think it's good. I like it. I keep saying it, and I've said it for the best part of a year now. The best thing you can do with the Fiend is not overexpose him. Give us, little bits here and there. They did overexpose him a little bit. They were verging on that for a little bit. I think bringing back the Swamp Bray Wyatt, the Wyatt family Bray Wyatt for a little bit here is great, particularly because it's against Braun Strowman. That's genius, I think. In terms of a swamp match, I'm not certain on what that's going to entail. I hope Shrek makes an appearance. That would be
Shrek.
That would be great. Yeah, I think that's what we all want to see in wrestling. We've got a dog Royal Rumble and or Battle Royal in AEW next week. Why not have Shrek? But yeah, I think it's going to be an odd one. Whenever I try and imagine it, the thing that I'm imagining, I think, is the Boneyard match. So I think that's clouding my judgment a little bit. But it's just odd when you look at Extreme Rules being called the horror show. I expected like a horror match, and I get that this will probably be like Deliverance style, maybe horror, in a kind of a non-slasher way, not like what we'd expect from the Fiend. So I think it will still be horror-esque, but I'm not too sure. All I can think of is it will definitely be cinematic. It will definitely play on the Wyatt family. It would definitely play on that relationship again and be a nice continuation of what we saw at, I want to say, Money in the Bank. I think Money in the Bank was when those two were last in the ring. I think it'll play off that, and I think it's a nice way of continuing the feud. I've got absolutely no hesitation in saying I believe it leads to a Bray Wyatt win and then the Fiend versus Strowman down the line. But I'm excited. It's the same as always. If I don't know what's going to happen, if I've got no idea what a swamp match is, I am 100% going to be watching a swamp match to find out what it is. So, so job done. Definitely job done. I'll be watching.
Yeah, I agree. I think it turned into where people are going to be excited for Extreme Rules, where it may have been something that may have not been the case beforehand. So definitely something different that's going to be coming up. So awesome, Gary. Again, if you guys don't follow Gary on Twitter, go ahead and do so. Gary, you're doing a stream as well now. Do you do that now before Raw and SmackDown, or is it just before Raw?
So it started out being before Raw and SmackDown. I now do it pretty much before every wrestling show. So I went live a little bit before NXT as well. I normally do it on Twitter. I've started using Twitch, but the links are always on my Twitter anyway. I make sure the link's on Twitter before I do it. But it's normally, about 20 minutes, half an hour before Raw, SmackDown, NXT. And it's essentially just me chatting a little bit about wrestling, the news that I've heard in the week, and what's going to be on each show. And obviously just taking questions as well. So, yeah, a little bit of fun. We've not got enough wrestling content in the world right now, so might be able to add more.
Absolutely. Hey, you know what? We were joking about this, but, listen, if something should happen where this stuff kind of shuts down, we're all going to need to find other things to do. So it's never a bad thing to get into something else because you never know when you're going to need it. So yeah, if you guys don't follow Gary, please do so on Twitter. Check out, he does the streams before the wrestling events as well. If you want to get in there, I know he does answer the questions that are put to him, so go check that out also. And Gary, as always, thank you for taking time out of your busy week. I know you're a busy man. I see all your stuff that you put out on Twitter and everything like that. So thank you for joining our show. As always, we really appreciate it. I know our viewers all appreciate the news that you give them as well.
No, thank you. And if wrestling does go down the pan, I can't wait to join you guys on the Insiders Knitting podcast. That'll be just as good, I'm sure.
Oh, man, I don't know. I said I might start having to stream like video games that I'm really bad at or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but let's hope it doesn't come to that. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Man. Well, thank you, sir. And we will talk to you again next week.
Yep. Thank you, guys, and have a great rest of the show.
All right, Gary. Take care. Thank you. All right, guys. That was Gary Cassidy. And again, a pleasure to have him on our show with us. And listen, I have not introduced my co-host, Jeff, and there's a reason for that. Number one, he's got a segment coming up here that he's going to do. Jeff was getting ready backstage because Jeff's going to turn heel. Jeff's going to do a little heel turn here in a second because we're going to recap the shows that we just watched. And Jeff's going to do a little bit of a heel turn also because I know that I'm going to get piled on during the debate segment. I know that because Rusty's in here, Jeff's in here, and they're chomping at the bit ready to go, and they're ready to pile on me here. So, yeah. So there you go. There you go. It's almost that time. So, oh man, Jeff, why don't you let's talk about what we just saw a little bit here. Let's talk about Fyter Fest and the Great American Bash. And Jeff, I'm going to let you to this. Go right into what you wanted to say. I know you have some things you want to shout out about what you saw on AEW.
Oh man, I'm ready to get this off my chest because I've been holding it in for a little bit. So, we'll get to the recap of the show. But if you watched AEW Fyter Fest tonight, there was a segment near the latter part of the show where Brian Cage and Taz come out, and they, Taz cuts this promo, and in the midst of that promo, he says he's talking about Moxley. Now we know that Moxley and Cage won't be going against each other next week. They'll be going head to head the week after that. And Taz, talks about the COVID testing, and then he says, You know that you would come here and get a test and all that because we don't run a sloppy shop. This is what I'm going to say about that. Taz, if you're listening, which I doubt that you are, but if you're listening, that was one of the most disgraceful, underhanded, classless things that I've heard. I get it. I get it. You don't like WWE. You feel like they did you wrong. But it really looks pathetic that every chance that AEW gets, they have to take a shot at WWE. Right now, WWE is living rent-free in the minds of people in AEW. But let's go back to his comment about the whole, sloppy shop thing. Taz, if I were you and if I were AEW, I wouldn't talk a whole lot about anybody else's shop. And here's why. You've got a women's division that you guys don't recognize, you don't put at the forefront at all. You put the women's championship match on second tonight. That's a disgrace. I get it. Kenny Omega, Adam Hangman Page, and the Best Friends had a great match. But to put your women's match on second is absolutely ridiculous. And you wonder why people still crap on you guys about your women's division. It's because you don't put any time into it. You don't give the women time to do what it is that they can do. You give them brief little moments here and there. You have legitimate stars in your women's division, and you guys want to be jackasses and not put it on when it should go on. That's why WWE and NXT is kicking your butt in that regard. And spoiler alert, if you're not careful, by the end of the year, when people think about the top two companies, you might be on the outside looking in, because newsflash, Impact is on your heels. And you know what they do? They actually promote their women. They have a great tag team division just like you guys. So instead of talking about somebody else's shop, maybe you need to focus on yours, because not everything that AEW does is great. And you guys might want to fix some of that crap first. So the next time you come out and you want to say something about someone, you better make darn sure that AEW has all their crap in order, because they don't right now. I'm done. I'm off my soapbox.
Look, I listen. I can't agree more. I am, and I saw comments from the community about this too. I know Nails was not happy with where the women's match was shown. I was a bit surprised myself. In fact, Jeff, if I remember correctly, on our preview show, we had we highlighted the women's match as our last match. Is that not correct?
That's correct. I mean, we gave more time to the women's match than AEW did.
Yeah. I was really surprised by that too. I mean, look, I get it. I understand the stardom of Kenny Omega. I do. I understand the tag team division is their hot division, of course, but I don't get it. I mean, when you have a women's championship match and that's not a highlight, what that shows me is that they're afraid to highlight the women's matches. And if that's the case, boy, you're in trouble, because we saw NXT have their main event as the women's match tonight. We saw NXT at their last pay-per-view in your house have the women as the main event. Obviously, WWE is not afraid to do that and have the women as main events. They got to get with this. They've got to get with this. They've got some good people and good stars in their women's division. Don't be afraid to put them on as your main event. Don't act like they're a second thought. Not a good look.
But Joe, you know what they're doing right now, and I know this is going to piss off some AEW fans, and I might get a little bit of heat for this, but I don't really care. You know what they're doing right now? They're being WCW Junior. That's what they're doing. They put on all of these well-known people in these different spots, and they don't highlight the things that they should be highlighting. They have some dynamic female wrestlers in that company. Abaddon, Sheeta, Penelope Ford, Britt Baker, Big Swole, Nyla Rose. I can keep going. But what they're doing is they're taking a formula that doesn't work.
Yep.
It doesn't work. Dave, and I'm looking at a comment that Dave said right here. The female division aren't main event material. They need more talent like Tessa. You know, we can agree to disagree on that. I understand where you're coming from, but here's what I'll say. If you never highlight the talent that you have, they'll never become main event material.
Yep.
If you don't give them that spot to do that, they will never get the chance to prove that they are or aren't. So until AEW gives them that opportunity, we don't know. We don't know. Right now, they're using the formula that WCW used, and I think we all remember what happened to WCW. Now, they do some great stuff. I like a lot of the stuff that they do, but they've got to get away from always relying on the same people in the same spots. Give those women an opportunity to shine. That's all I'm saying. That's what needs to happen from this point forward.
Yeah, I listen. I agree, and I love the show tonight. I did. I
did too.
Jeff did too. Like I said, we're not looking to bash AEW. We're fans. We're fans of AEW. I love their show. I did. I was entertained by it. I thought it was very good. But listen, if you guys watched it, that women's match is amazing. Was amazing. It was an amazing match. That match could have been a main event on the show, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
At the very least, make it the co-main event.
Yeah, it could have definitely been on before the tag team match, without a doubt. That we talked about this yesterday. That Cody Jake Hager match, we kind of knew that was going to be a clunker, and it kind of was. I mean, Cody didn't even bleed, for God's sake. So,
wow,
yeah, that is a shocker. And the comments by Taz, uncalled for. Absolutely uncalled for. But again, I think I told you this. We were talking earlier before the show. Taz is trash. He always has been. Going back to his ECW days, Taz was trash. And that's my opinion. Was he good in his day? Yes. Was he a gifted wrestler? Yes. But you know what? Taz always came up with trash. And this is trash. You don't attack that. Listen, nobody needs that right now. That's a thing with COVID. That's a thing that, it's almost like, and I'm sure that Moxley, yeah, I know he was attacking Moxley there, but I'm sure Moxley didn't appreciate the comments, considering that his spouse, Renee Young, has COVID. I mean, uncalled for, absolutely uncalled for. They didn't need to do that. So yeah, I'm a little bit disappointing. And I'm sure we're not the only ones that feel that way. So yeah, I agree, Jeff. I agree with you 100%. We're obviously not going to cover the whole things because we'll be here forever. What were some of the highlights, Jeff, for you on both programs? And you guys can start shouting out. I'm sorry we haven't caught up with your comments. I will start talking some of your comments as well. So if you watched the two shows or watched one of the two shows, what were some of your highlights of the two shows? So shout them out in chat. Ramblin' Rabbit says hello. How are you? Let me see if we got anybody else in since I called out. Sean Rousset is here. Sean, how are you, sir? He says AEW is WCW 2.0. That's certainly what Jeff was alluding to. Let me see. I think we said hello to just about everybody else. So yeah, Jeff, what were just some of your highlights real quick from the shows?
Yeah, so Fyter Fest, I thought the opening match was awesome. I mean, I'm pretty happy that I went 4-1 in my prediction, so I'm pretty happy about that. I thought the opening match was great. I thought the women's match was outstanding. That was a again should have gone on at least co-main event. And I really love the tag team match. I know I picked a different finish, but I really loved the tag team match, and I thought it was awesome. In terms of the Great American Bash, again, I thought the number one contender match at the beginning was great. Yeah, I had to actually run out for a little bit, so I didn't get to see a lot of the middle stuff. But Io Shirai and Sasha, I mean, that just goes to show when you give the time, and you give the spotlight, people make things happen. So those were my highlights, Joe. What about you, man?
Yeah. So AEW, I loved how the show started. Was really thrilled with the Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy match against MJF and Wardlow. Liked that a lot. I thought they put on a great match between those two, and of course we got that ending that some people kind of said we would, where MJF used his ring, kind of hit Wardlow, and then kind of blamed Wardlow for the loss and said, "Hey, what are you doing? You always screw up at the end." So of course it looks as if they're building up towards that. And the tag team match, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, the match was very good, and everything I expected it to be. Their tag team division is excellent, and the match was very good. Again, the only clunker I thought was the Cody match, and we kind of predicted that. And I don't know, Jeff. I think I went 5-0. Did I go 5-0? I think I did.
I think you went 5-0. I think
I did. So there you go. I went 5-0. So yeah. And then NXT. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch a lot of, because like Jeff, I was kind of DVRing NXT while I was watching AEW, because I just kind of figured AEW would be the better of the two shows. I did watch a little bit of it. I caught the end of the women's match at the main event match. I saw Asuka use the green mist, which was really cool. I haven't seen that from her in a while. And I caught a lot of the match between Io and Sasha, which was excellent. And like Jeff said, there you go. They're not afraid to have the women headline the show. And yeah, it's look, this is how it is. The women have come a long way, and this is how it is, and this is how companies have to be going forward. So I think next week you might see a turn here, because I think next week NXT might take the forefront, simply because you have Adam Cole in that match with Keith Lee, and obviously for all the marbles type of thing. So one of them is going to walk out with 2 titles. You may have some Karrion Kross getting involved with that a little bit as well. A lot of people are expecting that. We had a vignette by him. I did see that on NXT tonight. So yeah, I think that I think they might reverse roles a little bit next week, especially now that Moxley is not on the show next week. He will be on the following week to have his match. So against Brian Cage, that'll be in 2 weeks from now. So yeah, I again, what I saw from both, I enjoyed. I thought they were, I thought they both did a good job. And I'm looking forward to. I was impressed with the bash with the Great American Bash set. Very nice the way they did it. The red, white, and blue, the cars in the front. I really liked the look of it. AEW's Fyter Fest set kind of looked a little bit like the beach one that they had a little bit earlier, I thought. You kind of had some trees in the background and some stuff like that. So, yeah, I was impressed. I thought they were both good. I still say no titles are going to change, but we'll see if I'm right. So far, we haven't had any changes of titles. And, I still kind of go with that whole thing that they're not going to change any titles during these non-pay-per-view type events. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's see who we got. Nails joined us. Hello, Nails. How are you? What else?
Nails just missed it. I think she might want to go back and replay that.
Yeah, Nails, you might want to go back and replay the last 5 minutes or so, and listen to Jeff's rant about AEW tonight. I'm sure you'll appreciate it. Yeah. So John says next week's NXT is stacked, a street fight, and the winner takes all match. Yeah, it is. I agree. And they're going to have AEW is going to have a hard time up against that next week. I mean, obviously they have FTR and the Young Bucks in that whole tag team melee going on. But yeah, that's going to be tough to beat. It's going to be tough to beat that next week for sure. I think NXT will probably have the better of the two shows next week. You got Jericho against Orange Cassidy, which I know a lot of people will be looking forward to that. I don't know how good of a match it's going to actually be. Although, hey, Orange Cassidy had a good match versus Pac, so you never know. You never know. But yeah. So I think we'll see. I'm looking forward to both shows next week as well. And I did like both shows tonight. So yeah. So there you go. Rant over from Jeff. Jeff went a little heel on you with AEW. So oh man. Let's get to the segment that we all love to argue in. So let's get to it, shall we? Our Insiders Inside the Rope segment and our debate segment this week. So let's get into that, shall we? And I think, Jeff, what's our first topic?
Tessa Blanchard.
Yes, Tessa's been in the news a lot, guys. A lot of people talking about where she may end up. Where is she going to go? She going to end up going to AEW? She going to end up signing with WWE? And in this case, we're talking WWE. Is Tessa Blanchard going to sign with WWE? So go ahead, Jeff. Start it off, man. Did I lose Jeff? Uh-oh. Jeff? Well, that's not good. I think I might have lost Jeff there for a second. Hold on. Maybe I got him back. Jeff, are you there?
Okay, I got you back now.
Okay.
I got you back.
I'm here. Okay, Jeff is back.
I'm here.
All right, man. What do you think about the Tessa Blanchard thing?
I think Tessa is. I'm gonna sell this, and the reason why I'm going to sell it is I think that if we had gone back a few months and we didn't have Becky Lynch out and Charlotte wasn't out, I'd say that I'd no sell this. But with those two out right now, and I feel like WWE's kind of wanting some more star power in the women's division right now, I really think that she's going to sign with them. And I know the history and some of the things that she has done. But I just think that in terms of pure star power alone, I think that's the only reason why she signs with them. I have my personal opinions on it, and yeah, I get it. For people that feel a certain way about her, but I think that I do think she will end up in WWE.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna no sell this. Because when you give me that choice, yes, the buzzer is back. I'm getting revved up, guys. Because you know where this is going. So look, no, I'm going to no sell this, and the reason why is you give me a debate where it's one against the field. I'm always going to take the field, right? So honestly, because of listen. I understand Tessa is a great athlete. I understand she is very good in the sport. I just don't see WWE taking this chance right now. I just don't see it right now. Maybe somewhere down the road. And Jeff brings up a good argument, right? Jeff had said with Becky gone, with Charlotte gone, at least temporarily, who is going to step up there? Asuka right now is her and Sasha and Bayley. But yeah, she certainly would fill a void there temporarily, but I just don't think they're going to do it. Not now. There's still a lot of bad feelings and stuff about Tessa out there, and I don't think WWE wants that kind of heat, at least not right now. Will she go to AEW? Maybe. I think at this point right now, I think I'd be a little more on the side of seeing her go to AEW. But I don't know. We'll see. I think this is going to be a tough sell for any company. But who knows? If anybody wants to go out and get her, I'm sure that they can certainly do that. But I just don't see her going to WWE. Not right now. Anyway, not right now. Up next, Jeff. What do we got, man?
So up next, our favorite topic is the WWE draft. What WWE should do away with the draft, sell or no sell?
I'm selling this all day and twice on Tuesday. No more draft. This is look, guys. This is a ridiculous. This whole thing. When I heard that AJ Styles was moved to where he was moved for a past draft pick, what in God's name are they thinking here? A past draft pick of who? Who did they trade for AJ Styles, who's one of the best wrestlers in WWE right now? And you're going to tell me it was for a draft pick? Come on, this is stupid. They did this because they went on Fox, and Fox wanted this to be the sports thing and wanted them to have this whole – you remember those stupid boardrooms we got? Come on. It was ridiculous. Just idiotic with the boardrooms. Stop the draft. We don't need it anymore. It doesn't have to be anymore. I get it. Things changed with COVID. I understand all that. But this is just, it's just silly. There's people going from one show to the next and going back and forth. I mean, Dolph Ziggler this past week on SmackDown, Sasha's kind of making fun of Dolph because he was on the other show and now he's on this show. Come on, man. Stop with the draft. We don't need it anymore. It's outdated, especially if they're going to just have people jump from show to show to show anyway. And somewhere down the road for a quote unquote draft pick. No more draft. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. Stop it. Yes, sell this. Get rid of it.
I'm going to join you. I love it. It doesn't make any sense at all. The draft just they make this big deal of it, and then this person ends up over here anyway, and then they pull the whole, well, we have the brand-to-brand invitational. Like, stop. Just stop. Just freaking stop. Just, if you want to have rosters on each show, that's fine, but stop insulting our intelligence as wrestling fans. Run the shows how you need to run them. Do what you need to do, but stop with the draft, please, for the love of all things holy.
Yes. Yes, I absolutely agree. And Sean Rousset said Bobby Roode. Is that really? Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Bobby Roode that makes me even angrier. Bobby Roode got traded for AJ Styles. Are you serious right now?
What?
Like if you're trying to make it so that it's like football or sports, you're gonna trade a D-lister guy who's never on the show for AJ Styles, one of the best guys in WWE. Get out of here. That's not even believable to anyone. So yeah, oh my God, that's even more ridiculous.
I mean, if we're gonna bring football, if we're gonna do a football analogy, that's like trading Tom Brady, okay, for Chase Daniels. Just stop. Stop.
That's just ridiculous. That's again, it's insulting everybody's intelligence. It's stupid. Listen, fans are more intelligent today. People are more well-read about wrestling. They listen to shows like this. They go out and they watch things during the day. They read up on this stuff. They're more intelligent than to think that you're going to do this behind the scenes and trade this guy for someone. And if that's the case, don't even talk about it. Don't even mention it. Just let it happen. Let them end up on the shows they're going to end up on, and don't even tell us why. Don't give us that ridiculous draft garbage because it's stupid. Rusty says LeBron traded for Brian Scalabrine. Hey, Brian Scalabrine. I love Brian Scalabrine. He's a Celtic. I love it. Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it. Ramblin' Rabbit said, dude, this is wrestling, baby. Tessa signs with TNA or Ring of Honor. Look, definitely a hot commodity. She certainly could. She certainly could. All right. So what is our last wrestling topic before we get into the big dukeroo that we're all waiting for?
Oh man, and we won't take much time on this one, guys, because we know what you really came here. We know that what you came here for. So, we will see Roman versus The Rock at WrestleMania 30.
37. Yes. Go ahead. You can start this one.
37. Yeah, I'm 30. My goodness. I'm going way back in time. Yeah, this is me right now. That's me right now. So I'm going to say I love it. I want to see it. Please give me this because that would mean that they're not going to, I would hope, not rush Roman back into the title picture and give him some time to do some other things and build towards this match. So give me this because I would love to see The Rock get back in the ring, and maybe, just maybe, that would be The Rock's retirement match.
I'm gonna say sell this with the ability to return if I need to, and the reason why I'm saying that is because we don't know what is going to be the situation. We still don't know when all this stuff is going to come to a close. Obviously, we still have a lot of this going on in the world, and we still have a lot of it going on. For those of you people who don't live in the U.S., we're still seeing a lot of cases of COVID, especially in the South. And a lot of it's coming out now that people are going back out. So I don't know. I mean, I obviously with Roman's situation being immunocompromised, I cannot see him coming back anytime soon until this really starts to settle down. And we know that the Performance Center is in Florida, which Florida is one of our worst states here right now, having more and more cases daily. So I do not see Roman coming back anytime soon. And I know I don't think The Rock is going to jeopardize himself either, unless they know that they can be guaranteed that everything's going to be safe for both of them. So yeah, I like I said, I would love it. Don't get me wrong. This would be an astronomical main event if this does happen, and it's been talked about for years. But I just don't know. I just don't know with the way the world is if this can happen. And it's I know it's a little less than a year away, so we've got some time. And let's all hope and be positive about it that it will get cleared up. Someone will come up with an immunization for this, and things can get up back to semi-normal down the road. Let's all hope that that's the case. But again, I'm just going to take a reservation on this one because honestly, I just don't know. DJ said it's pretty bad in California too. Yeah, California, Texas, Florida, a lot of our southern
Carolina
states. Yeah, Jeff's in South Carolina. A lot of it is unfortunately they let people go out, and now you're kind of starting to see a lot of a jump again. So let's just kind of hope that doesn't take a toll on next year's WrestleMania, and we could see, because I know, listen guys, the bottom line is they're gonna, a match like this, I'm not so sure that they're gonna have a match like this if there's no fans. I just really don't think it's gonna happen. Not in front of no fans. So all right guys, we know where we are. How this got into our show, I have no idea. Comments from the chat, Rusty and Sonny and everybody, and then we mentioned this movie and this comic book, and I kind of retorted on it a little bit. So is Rusty back with us, Jeff? Is Rusty in the chat?
I'm going to bring our friend Rusty in right now. Rusty, how are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, Jeff. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm doing
Rusty
great.
has joined the chat. So look, you guys are going to go first. I'm going to let you go first. You guys take it away. You guys go first. I'm going to retort, and I've got a book to read because I have done my homework, guys. Again, I told you guys I'm a geek. I told you guys I've got a Facebook geek group. I am a geek at heart. I have read comics since I was 7 or 8 years old, and man, I am ready for this. I have done my homework, so we'll see. So what we're going to do here is Jeff and Rusty will go first. They'll trash me, which I'm sure they're going to, and then I'm going to come back, and then you know what? We're going to let you guys tell us who wins, all right? So they're going to go. I'm going to go. You guys tell us who wins, and then we'll go from there. Before we end this segment, too, we've got something special with this segment. I know we did this tonight with Rusty, but it was kind of on short notice. So what we'd like to do is going forward, we'd like to involve you guys in this segment. And what we're going to do is starting tonight on this very stream, you guys leave us some comments in the stream. And the comments can be about anything we talked about tonight. Leave us some comments about what you thought on certain things on our YouTube channel on this video. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick one of your comments. And one, obviously, if you guys are cool with it and you want to do it, we're going to bring one of you guys in with us. And you are going to choose the debate topic. And you are going to debate the topic right along with me and Jeff. So there you go. We're going to have you guys come in and do the debate with us in the future. So,
right.
yeah. So, like I said, leave us some comments if you're interested in that in our video tonight and going forward. And again, we're doing this next week's show. So you've got some time. And yeah, we will, just like we got Rusty in tonight, we will get you in for a debate with Jeff and myself. All right. So without further ado, X gonna give it to you.
All right. I'm not even gonna talk that much because I know that Rusty is more than capable of handling this. So I'm not even gonna go that hard in the paint for this. All I'm gonna say is this: Deadpool is immortal. He doesn't need some type of stones to gain some power. He's cool, and I mean, he's just funny. And like everything that you can think of that's like outlandish and all of that, he says is perfect. And it may be a little vulgar for some, but it's such a detour from what traditional superhero movies are, and that's why it resonates with me, and I love it. So, Rusty, handle this, man. Go ahead and take it over.
Okay, well, first of all, I agree with everything that you just said. I mean, Deadpool is the absolute best comedy character as far as all the comic book characters go. Number two, the man is immortal. You can't kill him, dude. Number three, he can regenerate. What are you going to do? Chop off his head, chop off his arms? He can just grow it back. So the stones are immaterial when it comes to Deadpool in the first place because you're not going to dust him. I never saw him get dusted at the end of Endgame or whatever that silly movie was. So, and furthermore, the man beat cancer and became a superhero. So, yeah, that's Deadpool.
Now that's kind of a low blow. Right there. All right, I'll allow it. All right. Okay, you guys are good. That's your guys are good. You done? We done? Are we good?
Yeah, bring it on.
Okay.
I'm good. We're good.
All right, we're good. I gotta clear my throat. You know what? Let me grab a drink. Hold on 1 second. Let me grab a little drink.
You know what? Before you even start that, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this because I know it's just gonna. I know. Yeah, go.
All right, here we go. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of background about Mr. Poole. Okay, let me give you a little bit of background. So Mr. Poole started off in a comic book called The New Mutants. New Mutants number 98 to be exact. He started off as a villain. Nobody really knew who the hell he was. And actually, what he is he's a ripoff. He's a ripoff of a character that was in DC Comics in 1980 named Deathstroke. In fact, that character's name is Slade Wilson. Slade Wilson, Wade Wilson. Wow, isn't that something? They even copied the dude's name, for God's sake, right? And he's also a copy of. Do you guys ever watch G.I. Joe cartoons? Do you ever see Snake Eyes? Deadpool kind of reminds you of Snake Eyes a little bit. Yeah. So right away he ripped off two people that were already in existence for years and years. So yeah, so there's that. Deadpool in the comics had a group of people that were, I don't know, did he morph into these things? He had a kid pool. He had a lady Deadpool. He had a head pool, which the head was the only thing alive in the Marvel Zombies comics. So he had a kid pool and he had a dog pool. I'm sorry. I kind of don't need to read anything about a kid pool or a head pool or whatever pool. Deadpool indeed did die. He died in issue number 250. Universes collided. You know how they do that in comic books and they get rid of whole universes and things like that. Well, the universes collided and yes, Deadpool died. So guess what? Marvel can kill Deadpool. Okay? So yes, Deadpool can die and did indeed die. His so-called regenerative abilities causes mental instability and psychosis. So he could regenerate, but he regenerates and he's crazy, and he can kind of, just go insane when he regenerates. So yeah, that's a great quality to have in a hero. As far as you're talking about Thanos, yeah, they were in a book together, right? Thanos cursed Mr. Deadpool, and he cursed him with a spell of necromancy that he had, cursed him with life because Mr. Poole didn't want to be alive anymore because he was living past all of his friends and loved ones and stuff like that. He didn't want to do that anymore. So Thanos, to get back at him, said, well, I'm going to curse you and make you live more. So he's still alive, and he doesn't want to be at that point because he wants to be dead and doesn't want to be around anymore. So yeah, so Thanos cursed him with life. He is ranked, if you want to look at the top 200 comic book characters of all time, Deadpool is ranked 182. And ahead of him are characters like Squirrel Girl, who I think I brought her up before in an argument. Characters like Marvel Boy, characters like She-Hulk are all above him on that list. So yes. DC Comics, by the way, parodied Mr. Poole. He is a stalker of Harley Quinn in her book, and the name of it, and I love this, Red Tool. Red Tool is the stalker of Harley Quinn that they patterned after Mr. Poole. He was supposed to have an animated series. Yeah, that got canceled before it ever started. Let's talk about movies now, shall we? Because I know they're going to bring up the movie, right? Because everybody loved the movie. Let's talk about Deadpool's first appearance in a movie. Because I know people want to kind of forget about that. But he was in X-Men Origins Wolverine, and yeah, he had no mouth. He had blades in his arms, and he was, they called them Deadpool, not Deadpool. They called him Deadpool because he was made from the gene pool of all the other mutants, and that's where he got his powers from. That was the worst rendition of a comic book character I have ever seen. And you know why it was so bad? Because his creator, Robert Liefeld, who created the comic book, was not involved with that film. So he ended up what he was this disgusting looking mass of flesh on his face, didn't speak anything at all, and came out that way. So come on, that's horrible. And so here you go. Let me tell me if you've heard this story before in a superhero movie, right? A character chooses to be experimented on. The character then becomes a victim of the organization that experimented on him and is scarred from it The character finds an advantage from the scars and uses it to escape, and then seeks revenge on the people who wronged him. Bad guys then capture his girlfriend. Character saves said girl and gets the bad guy. Wow, I've never heard that plot before, ever in a movie. I think that's the plot of pretty much every superhero movie that's ever been made. So take that plot that's pretty much in every superhero movie, put in some F words and some dirty words, right? Stick in a little, almost a mini sex scene, and you've got Deadpool. Not seeing it at all. And then let's talk about this. And here's my ace in the hole, guys. You want to know who can kill Deadpool? Do you really want to know who can kill Deadpool? I'll give it to you. Walt Disney. Disney is going to kill Deadpool. There is not going to be any more Deadpool movies like you have seen. And that is a quote from Rob Liefeld, said creator, who I just mentioned before. Mr. Liefeld has already been told to hit the highway by Disney, since Disney now owns the rights to Mr. Deadpool. And so Liefeld was told to hit the ropes. Liefeld has heard about what their plans are for Mr. Poole in the future. And he kind of said he doesn't even want to be involved. It's that bad. So if they do have a movie of him in the future, and that's a big if right now, what it's going to be is it's going to be a bunch of little comic balloons floating over his head when he does try to say a curse word, because Disney cannot and will not tolerate movies that are about superheroes with an R rating and with F-bombs in it. So there you go. You want to know who killed Deadpool? Disney killed Deadpool. Deadpool is dead. I am done with the argument. There you go, guys. So who won the argument? Was it Jeff and Rusty? Was it me? Who won the argument? I would throw my mic down, Nail, so good call, but I'm not going to do that because I break my microphone. So
can I just say one thing before we finish here?
Sure, go right ahead.
Who wouldn't stalk Harley Quinn, to be honest now?
Okay, all right, I'll give you that. I told you I did.
Joe,
go ahead.
At least he didn't get turned into dust.
All right. Okay. All right. But you know what, Jeff? See, here's the thing, man. In Marvel, no one ever dies. So I fully expect that Thanos will be back at some point, somewhere down the road, which is more than I could say for Mr. Poole, because I don't see him coming back in any Disney movies anytime soon. So there you go.
He'll be back. He just won't be able to drop any F-bombs.
Who won, guys? Get your shouts in. Who won that debate? Look, I love it. I told you, man, I was studying. I was studying. Let me read some of your comments. Let's see. And yet you like Batman, says Study Wolf. Rusty thinks Shane McMahon is best in the world. Batman is awesome, says Austin 316. Jake says he's dead. Nail said Jeff turned Joe's mic down. Oh man, that's not good.
I should have.
It was awesome too. Nail says Joe with a pipe bomb. Yeah, I dropped a pipe bomb. Yes. Sonny Wolf thinks Walt Disney is dead. Disney can catch.
He does make a valid point there.
That is a great point.
Nail says it's my day. Jake says Joe won. Sonny Wolf says Rusty and Jeff won. Chris says Jeff and Rusty won. So there you go. I think we're 2-2. Austin says Joe. So we're 3-2. What did DJ say? DJ's got eyes. I don't know what DJ's thinking. He might still be thinking. Dave says Joe with a knockout blow. KO Deadpool. I think we're 4-2. Eric Haberman says Joe 5-2. Sean Rousset, Joe, I see Deadpool will still be rated R. No, that's not what I read, man. That's not what I read. That was the headline about a little over a year and a half ago, but that is not the case. And Bob Iger, I researched this. Bob Iger did say about a year and a half ago that they were still going to do that. That has not happened and never been confirmed, and I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen because Disney has never done a superhero movie that's beyond PG-13. Let's see. What else do we got? DJ B. Tazzy said, I don't know who won. I just love the competition. As we did too.
I think we're at 5-4 right now, and we're just waiting on you. Here's what I'll say, Joe. Here's what I'll say. You did a great job doing your research. I'll give you that, but honestly, this was just fun.
It was.
It's just fun. It's just fun.
I agree. It's all in good fun, guys. Yeah, I mean, obviously, this isn't something we would do every week on our show because it has absolutely nothing to do with wrestling. It's just a little bit of fun. So, yes, and sometimes it's good to do that and just good to get a little bit of fun going out there. But like I said, this segment can be all about you guys. It really can. So, like I said, from now going forward, we're going to do this every week. And we're going to say that we can bring one of you in. We have the ability to do that. We have the technology, right? We can bring you guys on, and you can join us for this segment. And you can come in. You could pick out what topic you want us to debate, and then you could join whichever side you want to be on. And maybe we'll all agree. Who knows? We've done that before. So, make sure you go and drop some comments on our video tonight if you are interested in that, and we will certainly like to bring you in for the debate on our next show. So there you go. And thank you to Rusty for joining us tonight as well. Thank you for taking the time to come in, and we look forward to doing this in the future. So it is getting a little bit late. I know we're about 15 minutes over. We can do some quick Q&A if you guys have anything out there. If not, I get it. I know it's late, so we've taken up a little more of your time with the debate segment, and when we had that little extra segment in the middle for the two shows that we talked about tonight as well. So if you guys have some Q&A, you want us to do a little bit of Q&A before we head out, we can certainly do that. Nail starts it off. What does victory taste like? Victory always tastes sweet, man. Always tastes sweet, Nails. It always tastes sweet. Jake says it's fake. Oh, man. I love it. Listen, a couple things before we wrap up tonight, before I forget. We obviously have Brandy coming back. Brandy's been out for a little bit. She's had some personal things she's had to take care of in her life, as we all do. But she's been saying hello to people on the Facebook site. So if you haven't seen Brandy, head over to our Facebook group. And Brandy does check in over there. It's a little easier for her to communicate that way. So she does go over there and talk to everybody. Go check out our Facebook group if you want to hear from her. She's put out some videos on Facebook and talked to you guys. We will be having Brandy's segment back. And she will be talking about, like I said, Waylon Mercy. We were supposed to have it last week. I apologize for that. But we just ran into some issues where, work is a little crazy for everybody. And Brandy was still flying home and stuff like that. So yeah. Is Joe going to watch Deadpool? No. No. I will not be watching Deadpool after this.
Hey, Joe, did you see Dave's question here? It says, if anything, what would you book differently on either show? I'll start with that. Two things I would have done with Fyter Fest. Obviously, you know how I felt about where the women's match was, so I would definitely put that on either as the main event or the co-main event at the very least. And the other thing that I would have done is I would have taken the belts off of Paige and Omega and started that singles feud between them. That's just a personal opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Jeff on the women booking on AEW. I think, again, like we were saying that earlier, I think that I would have had the women's match, if not the main event. And I understand, like I said, I understand about Kenny Omega. I understand what high regard they're held in. That tag team is held in there because they're the tag team champs, and their tag team division is obviously their biggest thing. But I would have booked the women's match. At the very least would have been the runner-up match there, so it would have been the second match. in that, and I didn't see enough of NXT. I missed some of the beginning and I missed some of the middle. I kind of watched it a little bit scattered. I did see the Dexter Loomis match, which I actually really liked, the strap match. To be honest, I probably would have put that up a little bit higher on the card. And I could be wrong. I might be. No, you know what? Now that I think about it, because I kind of watched it in bits and pieces. That match I think, was before the main event. So, okay, yeah, if that's the case, then I apologize because, like I said, I watched it in bits and pieces. But if that match was before the main event, then it was booked as good as it could be. And I think they purposely saved their big guns for next week's show. At least that's what it appears to me like, anyway. Ramblin wants to know what my opinion is on Dexter Loomis. I love the character. I love the character. Anytime you could bring in a character that is a little bit crazy, it's got a little bit of a horror element maybe to him, a little bit of a creepy element to him, I'm good. I like Dexter Loomis. I think he could go places. I think he's got a bright future. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I really like Dexter Loomis. I think he's. I think eventually he's someone that could be the North American champion and put him in that spot. But yeah, I really think I think he's awesome, and I like his gimmick. I like what he does and the mysterious elements of it. So yeah, I really like Dexter. Joe, just for the record, because Days fan is wanting you to confirm what you already said, but Days fan wants to make sure that you say that Deadpool is a pointless character in your opinion.
I never really understood he's not. I don't know. He was never. He was brought in, like I said, supposed to have been a villain. And they never really knew where they were going to kind of go with him. They went back and forth, and then they brought him in as this almost like a parody of a character that kind of breaks the fourth wall and talks to people outside of the book. So you're supposed to know that you're talking to him outside the comic book. But I totally agree. And while we're on that subject, because people are still talking about this, Sean Rousset said, I think Deadpool could be rated R, just not teaming with the Avengers. Again, the plans for him, if there are any plans, and again, this isn't confirmed. If there are plans for him going forward, it's to be in movies with Spider-Man. The two of them have teamed up in comics many, many, many times, more recently in the books. But if they're going to do that, there is no way on God's green earth that they're going to do a rated R movie with Spider-Man. No way. So that's not going to happen. So if that's true, if that is what they're going to do, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And Deadpool is, I hate to say this for all you guys, but Deadpool is going to be comic relief. And I kind of think that's why the creator, Rob Liefeld, walked away, because he thought that he created the proper version for the two movies that they had. And his version of the character is what he thought he got. And obviously, if Marvel is doing something else to make him walk away, then it's not going to be the character that he wanted to have. So yeah. So there you go. There you go.
Eric Haberman asked me if I were in charge, would I redesign the TNT Championship in AEW? Absolutely. To be honest with you, I would really like it to sort of resemble the old WCW World Heavyweight Championship, but just on a smaller scale, since it's not the actual heavyweight championship. But I definitely would redesign it. I think what they have right now, if they just add a little more detail to it, I think it'll be better. But right now, it just looks very generic and boring.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely do that. Austin 316 says, hello, William Regal here. Did you like NXT more than AEW this week?
Again, I'm going to reserve judgment because I can't be fair because I didn't watch all of NXT because I had to tape it. I couldn't watch them both at the same time. So I'm going to go back and watch it a little bit later on. You can ask me then. What I saw from NXT was good. Like I said, the Loomis match was really good. The strap match, the women's match was really good. So I can't complain. Although I didn't see a lot of the in-between matches, so I can't really say one way or another until I get to watch AEW. Until I get to watch all of NXT.
Well, I'm not going to reserve judgment, and I'm going to say I like NXT because of the issues that I brought up before.
Mm-hmm.
The women's match was in the wrong spot, and Taz is just I can't say that, right? I'm not going to say that. So, but I like AEW, and I want to make sure that I let people know that I do like AEW. I like some of the stuff that they're doing, but they're really dropping the ball with the women's division. And
Let me read a couple comments. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jeff.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because you guys are talking about this, obviously, if you have strong feelings about this, Dave says, I was shocked having tag match as main event without the titles. Changing hands was silly. The female championship should have had that spot, being honest. And Nails followed up saying, number 2 is the well-known crap spot, and they put their woman there. Tag team wrestling is amazing, but that's the belt, and that's the belt. That's the belt. Should have been the main event. Yeah. Great point. You have a very good point. I can absolutely agree with you. Tag teams can main event because they're awesome, but there was no huge build to this one. So it should have been the championship women's belt. Simple as that. They wouldn't have had Moxley in the second slot with the commercial break in the middle. Yeah, that's another thing. And we didn't mention that. The commercial break in the middle of the women's match.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not a good look. It's just not a good look. And I agree. I absolutely agree.
Yes, Tazzy. Tazzy, you are the best Taz. Tazzy is the best Taz because the other Taz is a... Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And again, like I said, I watched Taz when he was in ECW. This doesn't surprise me because, when ECW was on, I mean, a lot of people laughed at it back then because it was kind of it was on late at night, came on at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. It's he was like this back then, so it shouldn't really come as to any surprise that he would say something like this. But I don't like it. I really don't like it. It just came off trashy. And I don't think, like Jeff said earlier, I don't think they have to do this. They're in a position where they're beating NXT every week. They don't have to keep taking shots at WWE. They just don't. I agree. Not a good look from Taz. So, well, listen, guys. It is getting late. We're a half hour over. So we don't want to keep you anymore. It's been a long night of wrestling and stuff like that. But listen, before we let you guys go, again, like I said, we have Brandy's Waylon Mercy thing coming up on Friday in Hot Tag, and then. We'll have Abby's Window again next Wednesday. We have an interview coming up for you next Wednesday as well. We talked to Marie Shadows. She's a big AEW fan. You'll want to hear her story. It's really cool. She's doing a book of wrestling fiction, which you don't hear about that very much. But she started writing a book about wrestling fiction. So doing a little bit of a fictional story concerning wrestling on it. So I thought that was really cool when we spoke to her. So we will have an interview with her next week at 6 o'clock in our normal interview spot. And then, of course, we will be back with you guys next Wednesday night at the same time, 10:15. Rusty says, thank you for having me. No, man, thank you for being on. We really appreciate it. So, yeah. So I'll turn it over to Jeff. Jeff, any closing comments before we head on out?
No, I just, I'm thankful for everyone joining in the chat. I see we got some. It's a little spicy in the chat tonight, so
yeah.
Just
Okay.
But the main thing is here's what I'll say about all of this. Honestly, both shows were great tonight. There are obviously things in terms of, preference of where I would like for things to be, and some of you guys would like for things to be. I in terms of the stuff with Taz, I just don't think you have to go there. Everybody's dealing with COVID. Everybody's had to adjust their plans. Did WWE mishandle um, the how they've done things? Absolutely. But I just don't think that has a place in a promo on another wrestling show. I mean, if Taz wanted to tweet that out on Twitter, I would have no problem with him putting it on Twitter or social media. That wouldn't be a problem to me. But when you're doing a promo, you're cutting a promo against a guy who's not there and won't be there next week because of safety precautions and the fact that his wife tested positive for COVID. I don't think you have to bring that up, and that's what really bothered me about the whole thing with Taz. It's just, I mean, you don't have to go there, and the other thing is you don't have to take cheap shots at the other company, because it just looks like they're living rent free in your head, and I just don't think that's. I think AEW is past that point now. They're above that, and I just think that maybe some of those comments were a little off, and just I didn't like it. Now maybe I'm just a stick in the mud, or just overly sensitive, but I didn't enjoy that. I could have done without that.
Yep, I agree. So that's it, guys. We really appreciate you sticking around and coming on as always and being a part of our show. As always, we really appreciate it. Those of you guys who won the t-shirts, we'll be getting those out to you as soon as we can. We did compile
tomorrow.
There you go.
So they will
be going out tomorrow to all of those who won those. And keep getting your friends, whoever, to subscribe to our channel. The more we grow, the more we'll keep doing things like that as well. And don't forget, if you're interested in coming on our debate segment with us, comment on this video about anything you saw tonight on the show. It really doesn't matter. Put a comment up on the video if you're interested in something like that down the road. And guys, we will see you all again very soon. I wish you all the best. Have a great night, and we will talk to you all soon. Take care, everybody. We'll see you again very soon.